Good evening. This is the last study after about 25 weeks of studies in chapters 11 and 12 of Hebrews. I think that's correct, 27th of April. I hope we've all been encouraged. Chapter 11, the metaphor of pilgrimage. Chapter 12, the race. 4 through 11, the parental training. Finally return to the race in 12 and 13. So Hebrews 12, page 1211, verses 12 and 13. Therefore, strengthen your feeble arms and weak knees. Make level paths for your feet, so that the lame may not be disabled, but rather healed. When you hit the wall in your Christian life, run tough together. Firstly, hitting the wall. I don't know if you've heard of that phrase before. It means in a task of endurance, you hit that moment when you cannot go on a further step. I don't know if you've heard of Man vs. Food on the television. It's a slightly gross programme. They set a challenge. Can this guy eat so much? Can he eat a £190 beef burger in 2 hours? And he began to eat the food, this guy, Adam I think his name was, and after about halfway through he hits the food wall. Can he carry on eating this burger? And eventually gets over the wall and carries on eating it and wins the challenge. It might be for you better than that. An essay, a writing project. You hit the wall, I can't carry on writing. Or a DIY task that's just going on and on, renovating a home, for example. Hitting the wall is often used in the realm of long distance running, in marathon running in particular. And I've just got this extract from this guy experiencing hitting the wall when running the Boston Marathon. Here he goes. He's in the middle of the marathon. By now, the rigours of having run nearly 20 miles are beginning to tell. My stride has shortened, my legs are tight, my breathing is shallow and fast. My joints are becoming raw and worn, my neck aches from all the jolts that have ricocheted up my spine. $half-sized blisters sting the soles of my feet. I'm beginning to feel queasy and lightheaded. I want to stop running. I have hit the wall. Now the real battle begins. Up the first of many long inclines, I start to climb. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Right, left, right, left, right, left. I keep watching my feet move, one after the other, hypnotised by the rhythm, the passage of the asphalt below. Shoulder cramps, leaden legs, seething blisters, dry throat, empty stomach. Stop, keep moving, must finish. A radio listening spectator reports that the race is over. 6 miles away, Bill Rogers has won again. His ordeal is done. The most intense of my own is about to begin. Heartbreak Hill. The last, the longest, the steepest, a half-mile struggle against gravity designed to finish off the faint and faltering. Hundreds of people stand along the hill, watching, urging the walkers to jog, the joggers to run, the runners to speed on to Boston. Slowly, ever so slowly, the grade begins to level out. The last 4 miles are seemingly endless. Some runners, their eyes riveted to the ground, trudge alone in their bare feet, holding in their hands the shoes that have blistered and bloodied their feet. Others team up to help each other, limping along arm in arm like maimed and battle-weary soldiers returning from the front. Finally, the distinctive profile of the Prudential building looms on the horizon. I begin to step up my pace. Faster, faster, smoother, smoother. Suppress the pain, finish up strong. Careful, not too fast, don't cramp. I can see the yellow stripe 50 yards ahead. I run faster, pumping my arms, pushing off my toes, defying clutching leg cramps to mount a glorious gasp kick. 40 yards, 30 yards, 20 yards, cheers and clapping. 10 yards, finish line. An explosion of euphoria. I'm clocked in at 2 hours, 50 minutes and 49 seconds. My place? 1,176. I find the figures difficult to believe, but if they are accurate, I have run the best marathon of my life. While times and places are important, and breaking a personal record is thrilling, especially as you grow older, the real joy of the Boston Marathon is just finishing, doing what you've set out to do. Wow. Spiritually, don't you and I feel like that many times in the Christian marathon? Exhausted, blooded, weary, one step after the other, cramp. The pain of my circumstances, they're so hard, it's too much. The temptation to sin, the battle is just too much. Being in prison for Christ, it's just too hard. My family turning their back on me, it's just too difficult. I'm too lonely in my room as everyone else is out getting drunk. The path of obedience is just too steep. My illness is just too demanding. I just want to give up my Christian run, my Christian race. Verse 12, the telltale signs of flagging energy, drooping arms, flopping hands, wobbling knees, spiritual legs feeling like concrete posts, hitting the wall. Surely you know what I'm talking about. What do you do when you hit that spiritual wall? Run tough, verse 12. 12a and b. Other verses have different emphases in the Bible. Okay, this is not the only motivation. But here, in verse 12, just here in this verse, don't jump out of it, in this verse, run tough. The writer is quoting from Isaiah 35, where Isaiah encouraged his despairing, stumbling people, saying, "Strengthen the weak hands and make firm the feeble knees. Say to those who have an anxious heart, be strong, fear not. Behold, your God will come." So here, the preacher in verse 12, like an attentive coach, just says, lift your drooping hands, strengthen your weak knees. The command to strengthen comes from the word from which we get the English word orthopedic. The sense is make upright, make straight. Modern athletic coaching, straighten up, get those hands and feet up, suck it in. He's not promoting, the writer here, a kind of do-it-yourself, bootstrap Christian life. Christians must tough it out by God's grace, but tough it out we must. Christians still require soul grit, just like determined marathon runners. Muscular Christianity is a must. We must run tough, renew our effort, be strong, cast away despondency, throw away self-pity, press on, pray, read, flee, gather, repent, believe, run tough. Toughing it out is essential to make it to heaven. But in verse 13, there's just one more idea. This toughness is not meant to be a solo endeavour. Run tough together. When you hit the wall, run tough, but do it together. In this verse 13, the writer alludes to Proverbs 4:25 to 27, as he calls us to corporate toughness in helping one another to run the Christian race well. Therefore, strengthen your feeble arms and weak knees. Verse 13, make level paths for your feet, so that the lame may not be disabled, but rather healed. Some translations say level or straight, but whatever the idea, it's kind of clear basically. Put the paths in better order so as to make the race easier for the disabled or for the lame. The point is, every consideration should be made to help everyone finish the race. Picture those marathon runners teaming up to help each other, limping along arm in arm. Our church should include not only the weak assisting the weak, but also the strong teaming up with the weak. It's the duty of mutual help in a church. Hebrews is full of this idea of helping each other to make it in the Christian race. Exhort one another every day, as long as it's called today, that none of you may be hardened by the deceitfulness of sin. 3:13. 4:1. While the promise of entering his rest still stands, let us fear, lest any of you should seem to have failed to reach it. 4:11. Let us, therefore, strive to enter that rest, so that no one may fall by the same sort of disobedience. 6:11. We desire each one of you to show the same earnestness, to have the full assurance of hope until the end. And 10:25, not neglecting to meet together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another. We hit the wall, and I think we're hitting the wall on and off all the time, aren't we? But when we hit the wall spiritually, run tough together. The real joy of a marathon is just finishing. Finishing the Christian race will be the moment when I die, go to heaven, or the moment Jesus returns and we enter the new creation. When, by his grace, I shall look on his face, that will be glory for me. But the double joy is finishing together. As we run the race, we do it together. We've got to get rid of this Western British curse of individualism that hinders the church. Yeah, we have to be tough. Yeah, we have to gut it out by God's grace ourselves, but we also hang tough together. I need you, you need me. The strong among us must hold up the dangling hands and wobbling knees of the weak with our prayers and acts of mercy, someone wrote. Those who are strong must take straight paths for the weak by the examples of our lives. You see, the lives of the strong must keep the weak on the right road. We can disable other believers by our bad example. We can heal other believers by our good example. We have to run tough, and to run tough together. And I reckon all of us at times will be strong or weak at different times. We need each other. There is no one strong enough in our church to make it on their own who doesn't need other people. One of my favourite Fernando songs is "Take heart, my friend, we'll go together. This uncertain road that lies ahead. Our faithful God has always gone before us, and he will lead the way once again. Take heart, my friend, we can walk or run together. And if our burdens become too great, we can hold up and help one another in God's love and God's grace." The joy of the Christian's marathon will be finishing. May we finish well, running tough together. The end.